Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Wednesday night segment of The Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network 105.3, 107.7 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. We're fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee who have been a part of our journey since the very beginning. So thank you, Folgers. We appreciate you. And it just wouldn't be the same without you. So thank you. Also, a big thank you to Justin Snicker, aka Dr. Snick, the Sonic Surgeon, for the contribution of his time, his music, and his voice for the intro that you just heard. He's an award-winning composer of Halloween, horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music, which can be found on all of your favorite listening music platforms. Also, big thank you to Steve McGinnis, the artist behind the banners and logos here at the show. Check him out on Facebook and Instagram. Also specializes in the horror genre, but does great commission pieces as well. So tonight, we welcome back the return of our dear friend, Reverend Bill Bean. I know, who's going to be discussing the Mandela Effect, CERN, UFOs, and much more. Now, in order to partake, you guys are going to have to go into our usual chat rooms, aside from Roku, of course, and go ahead and, hunker down, get comfortable, and see what happens. And hopefully he's going to be here soon. I did send the link. So
yeah, he's always a bunch of fun.
Well, Mandela Effect, how long have we been trying to get this done? I think we were going to do this before, and the poor guy lost internet. And
yes. And there was something that I looked up, and I couldn't believe, I can't remember what it was. It was just, again, TikTok. They said something about, didn't he have blah, 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 this character from a school book when I was little? And I went, yeah, of course it did. And then I go look, and I can't find it anywhere. And I'm like, I need to go find the book in my storage, because I don't, obviously it's a child book, so I don't have it on my case.
Yeah.
But
I know.
I have to ask my niece, because I gave her all the books. I have to ask her, like, take a look and see if it's a red, I don't know if it was a red hat, or I can't remember, but it was something red. And I went, what
the? Sorry, I think I just sent it to the wrong account.
He's got two. Yeah,
it does. I know. I think you automatically went to the other one.
Melting.
Okay, so just give me a second, and
I've got my fan on, my hair blowing everywhere.
I
am melting. It's so freaking hot in Southern Ontario. It's not funny.
Oh my God. No, it is. It's pretty hot.
Yeah.
Okay, right here. Hold on. Here we go. Paste. There we go. All right. That way it should fix the whole thing right there. Anyway.
Yeah.
I know. I get it gets kind of wiggy, because I mean, it's just things that like such as I think maybe you're talking about the Berenstain Bears. That's one of them. So
I think that's that's not the one that I had, because it was something from my childhood. The Berenstain Bears I knew about.
Right.
But it was something from my mine and yours.
Right. Looney Tunes.
Primary school book. And I went, this is
Curious George, things like that. It's just a bunch of weird ones. Pokemon. Who messes with Pikachu?
Jeez.
Whatever.
I'm a Pikachu. Yeah.
Pikachu. I know. And there was all kinds of them.
Love that game. Still play it.
I know.
That's why I have arthritis in my thumbs.
I know.
But yeah.
I know. So, but there's a lot of theories as to why, like, first off, is it a thing? And what caused it? Is it a total other reality? Like, I really love talking about this, and we've saved it. We've saved this topic for Belle, and I can't wait to get into it. And guest of honor has arrived. Woo!
Yay!
Woo!
Hi.
Hi, ladies.
Hi, how are
Hi.
you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on. I'm actually more busy than I've ever been in my entire career. It's
I
just
know. I've been
unbelievable.
seeing all your posts,
Yeah.
and everybody's talking about your talks at different conventions and that. Good for
Yes.
you.
Yeah, it's just amazing. And thank you. And I'm just trying to keep up, to be honest with you. I had a session before coming on air here. It's just there are so many people in need now. It's like trying to put a
Yeah.
forest fire out with a garden hose. And I'm doing the
Haha.
best that I can do.
Difficult
And
times. Difficult times.
yes, it is,
You know?
Michelle. And so I think that's what it is. It's indicative of the times. So many people are suffering. So many people are under attack. And we're going to get into some topics that could be leading to some of this and opening some of the
Yes.
doorways to fear and confusion.
Do you want to start there before we get into, I know we've got a few things on the docket, like Mandela Effect, and I think we're going to talk about UFOs and CERN and things like that. But let's start where you want to. We've got like 2 hours to just chill and go crazy. So why don't you take it away? And
Well,
we
chill
will.
is a good thing. I'm glad to be here, and I want to apologize to both of you because I was supposed to be with you on the last time, and it was just absolutely
Oh, it's not
bizarre.
your
We had a
fault.
power outage here.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
happens.
and
I've had them too here. So has Michelle. We both had them.
Yeah, it happens.
I
Yeah.
felt so bad, because I always enjoyed being on with both of you, and I was
Oh, we
looking
love
forward
having
to
you.
it.
Well,
And so I'm glad that we were able to make it
yeah.
happen now.
Hey, there's always another day. Right? So,
Yeah.
Yes, praise
I
God
mean,
for
when the big
that.
guy upstairs says, not tonight, it's usually for a reason.
Absolutely. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that we're here now, and I'm
Yeah.
going to enjoy being here with you. And this will be part of a relaxation thing for me now. So praise
I
God.
love it. I love
Yes.
it.
I love when you're on.
Well, let's
Thank you
have some
very much.
fun. Let's have some
Yeah.
fun. Kind of.
Um,
I say kind of because we're going to get into some
Dark
strange stuff. So
stuff,
where
yeah.
do you want to start? You're extra busy. I find same. At our end.
oh yeah, I don't doubt it.
Sign of the times. What do you think is leading up to all this? I mean, my first thing is lack of faith. Difficult
That
times, and
you
you
better believe
automatically
it.
blame, the big guy upstairs. It's like, well, hey, we signed up for this apparently, right?
This is why I say to people, it is so important to have a real and authentic relationship with God and develop your faith to where you're walking in that level, what I call warrior mode, which is faith, strength, and courage. It doesn't mean your life will become perfect, but what it does mean is that when the challenges come, and they will, God is with us, and he will help us to meet those challenges and overcome them. And you're right. A lot of people have lost their faith, and therefore they're just like a spinning top. And furthermore, all life operates on frequency and vibration. So when Yahweh spoke the world into existence, he did so by the frequency and vibration of his voice. And all life operates on that principle. So if we're on high, life is good, life is positive, we're moving forward. But if we're on low, life sucks. And there's always a problem, an issue, a drama, and never an answer. It's like the person has a black cloud over their head.
Oh, it's like
And-
watching The Real Housewives. You need like a salt
There you
bath
go.
after you watch it.
Well,
There
thanks
you
for
go.
saying it, so we
And-
didn't have to.
Yeah, and so this is where the devil wants us, on low frequency, low vibration. So we're wide open and vulnerable and susceptible for demonic attack. And I find this happening so much these days, so much more than in the past. And it's indicative of the times. And we're going to tie in the UFO aspect with the Mandela Effect and all these
Love it.
different things. And I do believe, in my opinion, I believe that the devil is using this to obviously put people in a state of fear and to divide them as well. So fear and confusion are tools to divide and conquer. And it's, coming right out of his playbook. And again, we want to have eyes like this that we can see. We want
Mhm.
truth. We want to know the truth. We want to be able to see the truth.
Yeah.
And by and large, the masses are deceived and they cannot see it.
I agree. I think there's also a lot of distractions where I
Lots.
feel people are being presented with so many distractions that sometimes they don't even realize what is actually happening or what's coming. So yeah, I think you have a lack of faith. You have all of these distractions. You're overworked because things have just shot through the roof financially, and your income doesn't change, but everything else is changing. And I think it's hard for people to keep up. So they're doing maybe double duty, second job, working extra
Yeah.
hours, or simply not able to do that, and that changes what's going on up here as well as what's in here.
I completely agree. And so we're seeing a variety of things taking place here. And hold on to your seat because we're going to see a whole lot more. We haven't seen anything yet. And I
Right.
really believe the next big thing coming, I could be wrong. I don't have all the answers, but I do believe the next big thing is going to be the alien invasion. And they're going to, and whether that is a real invasion or a fabricated one by those in the positions of the power elite, whatever the case may be,
Mhm.
I do believe it's coming. And
Right.
so we
I
have
agree
to
with you.
buckle up and get ready
Well,
for that.
invasion, yeah, I think I'm on the fence as to, is it, you know, human induced, shall we say,
Mm,
without getting into too much
Right.
complication, or is it really, I think they want us to believe, I don't believe everything is not peaceful. I believe there are many beings who are peaceful, who have encounters
yeah,
with peaceful beings. Um,
Well, they're
so
here. They're here.
well, they've been
But
here
I
all the
do
time, I think.
understand. I do understand what Bill is saying about invasion. We're aware that they're with us, but we're not aware of what else is out there,
yeah.
right? We're
Mhm.
only aware of what interactions we have with the species that are around or whatever, like people who
Mhm.
are abducted, people who are contactees. They only know, even Joe who studies, they are only aware of, the
Go
stories and their own
go back to
experiences.
ancient times, though.
I
Well, that's
understand
And
that,
where I
but
was
that's
getting
what I'm
ready to
saying.
go.
aha,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Bill's one
getting
step
ready to
ahead
go
there.
there. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's go back to ancient times.
Okay.
And we see all the depictions on the cave walls and things, all the historical types of pictograms or whatever it may be, wherever it may be, of these types of flying objects and
Mhm.
non-human looking beings that are depicted on them. So
Right.
let's take it back from a biblical perspective. So
Mhm.
when Yahweh, the creator of the universe, when he cast the devil, Hasatan, Satan, Belial, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him, when he cast him out of heaven with a third of the angels, I believe they were cast out in those flying craft. And the reason I say that is because
Ooh.
Psalm 68:17 says the chariots of God are 20,000. So I do believe that the flying Merkaba chariots are of Yahweh. And so when Satan and the Benai Elohim, the sons of God, were cast out of heaven, I believe they were cast out in those flying chariots, which then became Vimana. They came down here, took human women, produced a hybrid offspring of giants called the Nephilim. And the Nephilim became man eaters. The Nephilim also went into the beast, went into the woods and the forest and had unnatural sex acts with the beast of the field, apes, bears, dogs, wolves, you name it. And that is the offspring of the Benai Elohim and the Nephilim, the Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Sabe creatures. They are the offspring of the offspring. They're every bit as much supernatural as they are flesh and blood creature or
Mhm.
being. And they
Mhm.
too have these capabilities to not only render themselves invisible, but there's been many reports. And let me tell you, I've had many experiences with what we would call aliens, non-human looking beings, these
Sorry,
Bigfoot, Sasquatch,
yeah.
Sabe. I've had them. I've had these, so I know it's real. And
Right.
they do have these abilities and capabilities to traverse, whether it would be in orbs of light or these flying craft. So the origins go all the way back there. And
Mhm.
furthermore, I do
Right.
believe that in the vastness of the universe that God created, certainly he created life elsewhere out there in the universe. So that's another source. But
Yes.
I think that when the devil came down here, had fallen angels teaching fallen angel technology, and now our governments, especially the United States, has made these types of deals with these types of entities. And all you have to do is study about the giant technological leap that we've made over the last 100 years. That is very unnatural. And so it would indicate to me or confirm that, in fact, our governments have made such deals with certain entities, and I do believe they're the evil ones. There are many good, I've had many divine experiences involving these types of beings,
Yes,
but I've had many evil experiences as well where I felt like my life was in danger.
That's what scares me.
Yes. And so I do believe that our governments have made deals with these types of beings. And this is why our world is upside down and backwards, because I think that the devil himself is giving orders and directives to these beings, whether they are reptilian beings or whatever they may be, and they are carrying out the directives to the power elite and presenting it to them. And this, again, is why everything is so upside down and backwards.
Do you think somehow our reality has been altered with all of this because of all of this?
Okay. I absolutely do, Michelle. I think, and I don't pretend to have all the answers, but I praise God for blessing me with wisdom and knowledge. I thank you for that. And I very much believe that through the devices such as CERN, which is not just one device, that device is in Switzerland. But there are many of these types of devices all over the world, and many in America. Many CERNs like this, and certainly HARP is another weapon which can be used as a weapon of warfare, weather warfare, and mind control as well. And there are many of these like little mini HARPs all over the place now. So the planet seemingly has really, for whatever reasons, and I have to believe it's due to reasons of association with those other worldly beings, that that not only the technology, but seemingly the putting in place of these types of devices, which I believe can open portals, could certainly control thought, and perhaps pump out a frequency and vibration that would keep the masses asleep. And so, if we were having this conversation right now with 100 strangers, we're just in a random room with just everyday people. Most of those people would get up and walk out. They'd call us crazy people. They'd laugh. They wouldn't want
conspiracy theorists.
Yes.
Let me get my tin hat. I'm ready.
That's absolutely right. So we would be reduced and dismissed as such. And meanwhile, they go and stay in their little box. And as long as they're in their little box and they're being patted on the head, and they have you can control the masses with money, food, sex, and entertainment.
Yes.
And so if you've got those four things, most people, oh, wow, I got everything and I don't need anything else and I don't want anything else and I don't want to know anything else.
Right.
Very clever.
Right.
It kind of clicks in with what's going on in Hollywood right now and the child trafficking. Not the child trafficking so much because I don't want to get into the sex trade and the trafficking because that becomes a legality and I don't want to do that unprepared. But there is mention in the film about the sacrifices. And that ties in what you just said. It really ties in more than people are aware. And I've said this to Michelle. We've had these discussions before where I've said so many times where we've worked with people where I've said, oh my gosh, they made a deal and they didn't even know it.
It's true.
You have to watch your words and your thoughts.
Yes.
If you say, well, if I could get this, I would do anything. It's like bing, bing, door open.
They take that seriously. It doesn't take much, that's for sure.
That's
Yeah.
why shows like American Idol and The Voice and all those exist, because that's what the premise is. What would you do? Would you sell your soul? How far would you go?
Mhm.
That is a dark world with a capital D. It always has been from the
Yeah.
very
Yes.
beginning. And so it is based on that premise of how far would you go? What would you do? And then those who hold the power over others to make them do things that you'd never in a million years think that you would do. But, these people find themselves doing these things. And then next thing you know, they become addicted to alcohol and drugs because of the things that they have done. They can't deal with that on a daily
Well,
basis. So they try to escape it.
it's made readily available. I mean, I was in the modeling
Oh, yeah.
world for a long
Yeah.
time and witnessed things, along with goes pretty hand in hand with the music world. And some of the
You're
things that I've seen, I was just like, no. My daughter wanted to go to modeling. I was like, no, there's a reason. I only went
Yeah.
so far because I was like, yeah, this world is not for me. It's not all glamorous like people think. You were really walking on a lot of heartache if you really want to.
Yeah, the casting couch is not a myth.
That's absolutely
Well,
right.
in the acting world, for sure.
But even sometimes, even in the modeling world, when
No,
you're
not
trying to
this
get
good.
into the big ones,
good.
the photographers that
Oh, for sure. But I was
Yeah.
lucky I was with an agency. But I'll tell you, like being at let's say social gatherings, and they're coming in with bowls this big of just the white stuff that is just like it. You see money being thrown away. I could see how people can be enticed by that. There's never been anything. I've never been interested in drugs or anything of that nature. But I've seen people just really get ruined by some of this stuff. So I could see the enticing parts of all of that. But one night, all it takes is one night and somebody with a camera.
Correct.
With eyes on you, and your
Then it's
whole
over.
Future is
You're
now
canceled.
under the thumb.
Yeah, everything's canceled now.
And
Easy
when
to
you get into
cancel.
those brotherhoods,
Mhm.
we're talking Illuminati and all these types of things
Oh,
are very
yeah.
real. And
Mhm.
and as a matter of fact, when they recruit people into that, and which a lot of the entertainment people are in that,
Mhm.
they make sure they're documenting them doing something that is wicked and heinous and horrendous, because that way, if you have an epiphany one day that you don't want to be a part of it anymore and you try to
Mhm.
get out, well, then a story is going to come out and you're going to be ruined. So
That's true.
they do these things to keep everybody in line
Mhm.
and in with their brotherhood, and they do things that I can't even talk about here.
Mhm.
I will
Yeah.
say this. This goes back to the Incas and the Mayas and the Aztecs, and even in Egypt with ritual sacrifice. And then others that came along, like Aleister Crowley, who glamorized this and popularized this and talked about in his books,
Mhm.
certain magical ritual incantation spells and certain things that would be done, especially to children, specifically a male child, that would give them great power if they carried out such wicked and heinous acts. And it's just, I look at something like that and it just blows my mind, but it infuriates me as well, because I stand up for the oppressed. I don't want to see anybody bullied or victimized or even worse, like some of these things that are happening.
Yeah, but it can go the other way too. Like the singer Mandy, I can't remember her last name. She was in Just Us series for a while there. She wasn't working. She was never a girl, like a Disney girl in the sense of Britney Spears and Jessica Simpson and, Selena Gomez. She was never one of those. She always brought God forward in,
I don't know
like,
how she could be a part of that then.
I think she didn't get jobs for a long time because of it. Sorry, I just got a sharp pain. Holy
You okay?
crap.
Yeah, we rebuke you in Jesus' name. We bind and rebuke that. And see, when we talk about things like this, we're stepping on toes. And,
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Walt Disney or the Disney period. And we can make a whole show out of that about
Oh,
who he
we
really
just
was.
might. We just
Yeah,
might.
it
About
is
who
the
he
whole
really
thing.
was
But
and who he was to kids.
she's one of those Disney girls that never felt prey to that. Always, I guess, I really believe a lot of it is her mother was very present in her career as well, and always with her,
But
and
in a proper way.
Mandy Moore, thank you, Trish. Mandy Moore,
So
unbelievable young woman.
I
hope
have
she
to-
stays that way, Amelia.
She's married with children. She's close to my age, so yeah.
I have to ask, while we're on the topic of sacrificing children, and I'm not talking current, but going back to the time of the Cathars and even before that, they actually the Canaanites, and when they worshiped Moloch,
Yeah.
and that was all. I mean,
Yeah.
back then it was about sacrificing. Do you think that this is because there's a lot of us when you think that the Vatican has got a statue of Moloch? Do you think behind the scenes all of this is still this is still a thing? Like it never really went away?
Yes, it never went away. And I'll tell you why it didn't go away, because our God does not require sacrifice, but the devil does.
Right.
He has a bloodlust and he hates human beings. So therefore his MO is to kill, rob, and destroy. And so if he could trick people into worshiping him, and especially if they're doing ritual sacrifice, I mean, back to the Moloch, the people would go and throw their babies into the burning fire of the Moloch.
Yes.
If you can trick people into doing things like that, wow, you got them. They'll do anything. If somebody's going to, sacrifice their baby, they're down with anything.
Well, it just sounds like it's been done under the cover of a guise of an entirely different religion that's still practicing old ways.
Yes, and this is part of the Illuminati Brotherhood, and you could tie many branches off that tree, together, because they are all together, and they do participate. This is why we have Bohemian Grove and things of that. You think it's just one place? There's many of those types of places. Epstein Island, there wasn't just one island. There were many of those islands.
And Sound of Freedom proves that in the film.
Right.
He brings forward all of those.
Yeah. Well,
so these people have had free reign for a long time to do whatever. And it's because of the money and power. And furthermore, Michelle, it's because of this brotherhood being locked in with the devil and these reptilian aliens that are the ones that are dictating the orders to the power elite. So they're down with all of it because they know that they are above the law. There are no laws on this earth that are going to convict any of these people. Their day is going to come, but unfortunately, it's not going to come on this earth. How sad is that? It would if I was the guy in charge. I can guarantee you that. If I was the king of all this, it would happen very quickly. But, you can't. That's why I say the devil has the market cornered. So I don't care if it's politics, entertainment, sports, and religion. The devil has the market cornered. So if you are in the high places, you're going to be in service to him, or you are not going to be a part of it, period.
Right.
You're not going to be there.
Right. Zach.
All right. He's got my vote for 2024. Mine too, and I'm not even in the U.S.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
I'll tell you right now, if God came to me and said, William, you are going to be the one I choose to straighten out this mess, I would accept that call. And boy, oh boy, I already have plans of how we could eradicate things very, very quickly and get everything back into the proper order of God. And I would see to it that they would be carried out.
It's so hard because I believe as easy as it is to become successful because you do whatever to get there, it's also easy for something to make you look corrupt. It works both ways, even though you're not corrupt.
Right.
We see these action films on television where they wipe out people's existence. Those are things that really do happen in the world.
In some arenas,
and it's a different kind of brotherhood. It's a different kind. It's a military. It's a police force. It's CIA.
The military is manipulated by these things as well, and there are a lot of brave men and women that serve, and they have my 100% support. But they're deceived because they're nothing more than pieces on a game board. these, when we really look at this, there are no more borders anymore, these countries or anything. This is all big game. It's all theater. It's professional wrestling. They
Money.
pit a good guy against a bad guy, and they're all bad guys. And it is
War
all
is
about
money.
money. So money is power.
Yeah.
So when you're
Yeah.
in with, of course, when you're in with the most vile one, the devil, and then his subordinates, the reptilian and aliens that are part of the satanic kingdom, you're gonna feel invincible because they got your back. So therefore, you can do anything and everything, and you're going to continue to flourish. The money's going to pour in stacks. But here's their biggest miscalculation, and that is
read that. Sorry.
When
Go
God
ahead,
has
Bill,
had
sorry.
enough, a great and terrible day is coming, and these people are going to be reduced to ash. And they better repent soon because time is running out. And when he's had enough, and we are going to see some stuff happen like we can't believe.
So I'm going to ask this just because I see it come up a lot in, like I get through the social media. I don't get on there a lot, but I love to read the feeds and just see what people are up to. And Amelia and I have touched on this a little bit. A lot of people believe we are in apocalyptic times. Like people are just waiting for the 4 horsemen to chime in. Amelia, sorry, Bubbles.
Dreaming about it. I just told you that yesterday. It's driving me crazy.
No, I believe it too. I absolutely believe it 100%. And I've had prophetic dreams myself.
Okay.
And also I ask God, please confirm to me, is this truly the last days? And I do believe that I got confirmation from him that it is so. Now, when is that time coming? I wouldn't dare say because he didn't tell me that. So I'd be a liar if I said, he told me this. There's plenty of this phony preachers out there that'll tell you, it's going to happen on this date. And then when that date comes and goes, they say, no, I didn't know. God decided that it was going to be this date. And people still follow along with that. So it boggles the mind. And P.T. Barnum said this. Donald Trump says it too, and Vince McMahon also. There's a sucker born every minute. I'm sorry to say it that way, but
it's a sales.
If you're not seeking wisdom and knowledge, and the only way that you can attain real wisdom and knowledge is to have a real and authentic relationship with God. Therefore, he will give you holy discernment to know what is true, what is not, who is true, who is not, and who to follow and who not to follow. Otherwise, the world is going to be led astray time and time and time again. Jesus himself said, you will follow anybody except for me because you don't want the truth. So you'll follow anybody that presents anything that is not the truth and that is the easy way. So we see in a lot of these churches now, which I call dens of iniquities, most of today's churches are just gone. And they are preaching a message of come on in off the street. It doesn't matter who you are, what you are. And there's nothing wrong with that if you are bringing people in to say, hey, we've got a better way. We could show you that, if you want to make God first and lead a life in faith, wonderful. But that's not their message. Their message is we want you to come in off the street. You can be anything you want to be who you are, bring that into the church. I will be your pastor. But I'm not going to spiritually feed you. I'm going to be your entertainer. You're going to laugh at me. I'm going to tell jokes. I'm going to have a rap show. On Easter Sunday, there's a pastor named Mike Todd who has one of these mega churches in Atlanta. So he has over 20,000 people a week that attend his church services. And on Easter Sunday, he had hellfire on the stage, an LGBTQ on the cross. He had and somebody that came out dressed up like him singing a rap song that everybody's jealous about his money. And then he brought 3 scantily clad women out on the stage. Now, this is Easter Sunday church service. He brought those women out on stage and they were talking about the size of their rear ends on the stage in front of the church. So this is today's church now.
So it's the last, because I'll put it out there right now. I don't care who you are, who you identify as. I love you all for who you are, wherever you choose to be. But I do believe that if you are a Christian follower and Easter is supposed to be a sacred day. It should be treated as a sacred day. If you don't follow, you know what I mean? Then like, why celebrate it at all in any form?
But we can get into that with Christmas too, though.
It's in any holiday. Any holiday.
Like Christmas, you're not even allowed to say Merry Christmas anymore. I mean,
no. Things. It is what it is. Sadly, we are in different times. But again, what do you do about something like that? It's a sign of the times. And this is where I think we come back full circle to why you're so busy.
Yes, absolutely right. So what happens is when this deception takes place and people, or either find themselves in a church, like I had a show last week on my little Warrior Mo show that we talked about. There was a couple that I had helped in the past, and I actually performed their wedding for them. And they're wonderful people, but they got deceived, and they ended up in this church in Los Angeles that was more of a cult than a church. And this is happening quite a bit, to where, any charismatic individual that comes along and calls himself a pastor, if the people emotionally invest in them or in that person, he's got them, and he can do anything and say anything, and the people are going to go along with that individual till something momentous takes place. But in their case, praise God, they started seeing through the deception, and they felt that they even had curses placed on them as a result of breaking free. And you know what? I don't doubt it. I ended up performing a spiritual deliverance for them to break all of those curses, hexes, vexes, and spells. And they were very troubled and disturbed by it. But this is a new theme as well, Michelle. This is taking place all over America, and even churches in Canada, that, you have these charismatic people that are wolves in sheep's clothing, and they lead these people in, and then it's all about getting control and getting your money as well. And can you imagine when a person has the level of control to say to a husband, you can no longer have sexual relations with your wife because she can only have them with me? Can you imagine? And then the husband goes along with that?
That's a cult.
Yeah.
So at that point, you have full control, because if a man is submitting to that and allowing that, you have total control. And so that's what the end game is here, to get total control and to get all the person's money, properties, assets, all that.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, it's kind of like Salem.
Yes, it's so dangerous, Amelia. It really is. And it's so sad that people fall for this, because there's so many people out there, they're searching. They are searching, and they want someone to show them the way. And unfortunately, there's a lot of these undesirable individuals that they show them the way, all right. And then it becomes a very sobering experience after that.
Yeah.
I'm just going to come back to this question. He's not screaming at you. He said he accidentally had his caps on.
It's like, I'm sorry. Again, wear the tallit?
I do wear a tallit, and that's it's a Jewish it's a like a shawl type of thing.
Prayer shawl.
Yeah, it is. And I'm not Jewish, but I'm non-denomination. So I'm not Catholic. I'm not any of these denominations, but I wear that because I feel led by God to do so.
And it's a prayer shawl. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And I really love it. I wore it to the most recent event that I appeared at, the Defeating the Demonic event in Southbury, Connecticut. And I was there with Jason McLeod. He was the host of the event, and Bishop Long, and Archbishops Ronald File Enright and James.
I saw you
Cloud.
Guys. James filmed it. James filmed it.
And do you know that they came up and said, "Wow, we love that. That's so beautiful." And here they were in their full priestly clergy uniforms, and they really loved that. And there is something about it, and I'm blessed to have it. I thank God and praise God for it. I always pray that God works through me. It's always His power. It's nothing. I'm a vessel that He works through. I'm nothing special, but I praise Him for that. And there is something when we put a priestly robe on, not that there's any magic on it or power or whatever, but the power of God can work through anything. And I do believe that there is something special about it.
Oh, absolutely. It takes you back
So I
in
hope that
time
answers
to
the question.
history. Whether you believe Jesus was the son of God or a carpenter, it still takes you back to that time. I think that's what gives it
Yes.
so much. And of course, the value that it has to the Jewish
And the intention.
community. Yeah.
You know,
And
the intention.
It's
And
just like
people
wearing
do-
a cross. Yeah.
correct. And Jesus himself wore one, and he had it over his head. And so people do ask me, because I use God's mighty and holy name, Yahweh. His name's listed 6,823 times in the Bible, replaced with the title of the Lord. So wherever you see Lord in caps, that should say Yahweh. And so the battle for the body of Moses took place between Michael, the archangel, and the devil. And Michael said to the devil, "The Lord rebuke thee." And that should be Yahweh rebuke thee. So I use his mighty and holy name. Those who call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. Those who call on the name of Yahweh shall be saved. Jesus is the Son of God, and his Hebrew name is Yahshua, which means Yahweh saves. Yahweh saves through him. And so that's why people say, "Are you Jewish?" I said, well, I guess maybe a part of me is, because I certainly follow some of the ways as far as using our Creator's name. But most Jewish people won't. They're using names like Adonai and Hashem and on and on and on. Different. They won't use Yahweh because
But they
feel,
do go by the Old Testament, which they believe in several gods, though, right? I mean, Yahweh was the Hebrew God. Is that
that's how the
mistaken?
Romans would say it. But I mean,
Right.
Yahweh is the creator of the universe and all things. And so there's a genetic code. There's a DNA code, a code on our DNA that is 10565. Okay. That's on every person's DNA.
Right.
Some maybe not anymore. But that is the genetic code that holds the DNA strands together. When translated into lettering, that is YHWH, 10565. So there you go. That is the name of God that is in number on our genetic code. And of course, there are those out there that are doing their best to destroy that genetic code through various means. And
that's a whole other show, and you'll get us booted off if we go
That'll
there.
get us booted right off of every network we're on.
yeah, so we'll leave it at that.
I know.
But it all ties in, with the UFO aspect, with the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect is, again, in my opinion, fallen angel technology that is created to divide and confuse people. So
thank you, Nathaniel.
we see hundreds of scriptures now change, but there's also hundreds of changes, worldly changes. I'll give you one. Roman numerals. So if either of you have a Roman numeral clock or watch, you'll see that Roman numerals used to be V's if you're 5 or 6 or whatever. Now they're inverted. They're A's.
They're always V's.
Yeah, and now they're
I stand by that one.
Yeah.
For me, it does, because that's like Michelle and I, we went through that in school. I have a hard time looking at a clock that has regular numbers.
Yeah.
The primary numbers, I have to, I just go by the motion because I'm so used to Roman numerals, being 54. So
24.
54. I wish 24. Yeah, I just said 24. But I'm oh yeah.
No, there's
do you notice? I mean, have you guys noticed those Roman numeral changes?
Yes,
like
they're
that?
V's. They're V's.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Yep.
I mean, we're questioning our sanity. They're making us question our sanity.
So that, when you think about the bigger picture, okay, why would they do that? They would do that because it comes out of the devil's playbook of divide and conquer. So if you can get people at odds with each other. So when I first started speaking about the Mandela effect, and I'm always so busy, I really didn't pay attention to it. I performed a deliverance for a lady in Scotland, and this was probably maybe 6 or 7 years ago now. And she sent a video a couple weeks after that. She said, "Have you seen this?" And I was busy. I was really, to be honest with you, I was annoyed because I don't have time to look at this. And I started to delete it. and God stopped me in my tracks and said, look at this. Now I watched it and I said, oh, I'm going to disprove this right now. I keep a Bible on my desk. I have Bibles in my briefcase. I have Bibles all in my home. I have a Bible in the top of that closet there that's 160 years old. And so I got 3 or 4 of those Bibles out, including the 160-year-old Bible. I laid them out here. And the first thing that I saw, they said that Isaiah 11:6, which is one of the most popular scriptures in the entire Bible, there's depictions, statues, paintings. I've got a little figurine right here on my desk. That is the scripture that says, and the lion shall lay down with the lamb. Everybody knows that scripture.
Yes.
Well, if you look it up now, it says the wolf. And so they want you to believe that it's always the wolf.
No.
So that's where it started for me. And I recall, when I first saw it, I said, oh, I'll disprove this right now. I opened all my Bibles, including that 160-year-old Bible.
Yeah, it's easy to prove
it. I almost fell out of my chair. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I couldn't reconcile it because I know, I spent years in serious biblical studies. I know the scriptures. I know them very well. And I knew that scripture inside and out. And when I looked at that, I nearly fell out of my chair because I thought, no, how do I reconcile this? And then I started to see other scriptures that they were presenting. And I said, no. There's no way it said that before. I know it. So Amos 8 states, and it's Amos 8, verses 11 and 12. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord God, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread nor thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east, and they shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord, and shall not find it. And so this is why God told us to hide the word in our hearts, because he knew the day would come that these changes would take place and deceive people into thinking that they've always been there. I had a debate one time.
How? You have 100, like I have old Bibles as well. How does that change? How did that change? Like, did we dimensionally change? Like, are we in a matrix, or our reality been remanifested? Like, this is where I'm lost on this stuff.
But I really believe, this is my opinion strictly, because even if I were standing there to see how it worked, I wouldn't even understand what I was seeing. But I do believe that the origins of this come from the CERN device, and also working in conjunction with D-Wave quantum computers. And so the computers, so the CERN device will open the portals, and the D-Wave computers, then you can program and put in and edit and re-edit, or bring it back to the original and then edit again, because that's happened as well.
Right.
And so this is how, in my opinion, how it's taking place, because these D-Wave computers are unlike anything, they're unlike any other computer in the world. So this is fallen angel technology, AI. It's all fallen angel technology.
Oh gosh, AI is another thing.
It's terrifying.
And they're using this against humanity. So if you make these types of changes and edits, we're talking now, we go, wow, okay, so we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that, it was the lion laying down with the lamb. We know it. But then there's other groups of people, including this pastor that I had a debate with on the Daniel Ott show 4 or 5 years ago. That man attacked me, called me every name in the book, called me an antichrist, told me that, said that I was trying to lead people away from the Bible. His followers were attacking me. He's some pastor in Tennessee, and he's supposed to be a Bible scholar and all this stuff. And so we had probably a 2-hour debate, and I presented many, many scriptures that are changed, and he, every one of them, no, it's always said that. And I said, well, if you believe that, well, then you never knew the word in the first place. I'm sorry. There is no way, no possible way that anybody that truly knew the word would go along and say, oh no, it's this, it's always been this. It's not possible. So it leads to that type of division and confusion, to the point to where people like that will vilify me and make me out to be an enemy of the people trying to mislead people, and nothing could be further from the truth. I love people. I'm in service to people each and every day of my life, but I seek the truth. I seek the truth so I know the truth, so I can speak the truth, so I can teach the truth. The truth is the truth. There's no substitute for it. And so when you give some people the truth, they will see you as their enemy.
Right. I agree.
I'm so afraid of this AI thing, because now what's happening on social media, and one in particular, people are pretending to be AI and acting that way because in other countries, Canada, you cannot profit from social media, but other countries you can make money from social media. So they're doing this and pretending to be it. And I wonder how many of these people are going to fall into their own fantasy and then just use it as, I didn't kill him, I didn't kill her, that's AI. Like we're heading down a really, really dark
road.
You're right.
I agree.
And these people don't care. They're already given over to a spirit. So we've got to be very careful, because we can open doorways, and not just with drink or drugs. Alcohol it comes from Egypt. Alcohol, that's a flesh-eating spirit, flesh-eating demon. That's what that is, alcohol. And drugs, when we are under the influence of drugs, that is the spirit of pharmakia, sorcery. So we're opening doorways, giving legal right for the devil to come in. And what Amelia just said about being in that arena, you're also opening a doorway and giving legal right for the devil to come in. So it's a trade-off for some of these people, because they want attention, they want money, and they want that fame. So they will do anything for it.
Here's a perfect example. Now they're opening up, before there used to be clinics for people who were drug addicted to go in and safely give themselves drugs and slowly, get the help that they needed. Now they're passing laws to say, and this is true because it's been out there in some places, and I won't say where, to permit the sale of cocaine and heroin as long as it's under 2.5 grams, because they need this, because this is an illness. How about we open up some rehab centers and throw them in there? Because to me, that's a gateway to something else now.
But it's all part of their plan. The plan is to dumb the people down to the point to where they don't resist anything. So you can shove anything on them. And furthermore, if you get them under government control, then no matter what the mandates are, they'll go along, because they'll say, well, I can't resist that, because they'll cut off my, whatever funding, whether that's social services or whatever it may be, they'll cut that off. So I got to go along with what they say.
But you also realize, for me, I'm noticing that things that were not acceptable at one point are now acceptable. Let's take assisted suicide. You'd go to jail for that at one point. Look,
they are sitting in jail for that right now, and drugs. They're permitting it.
Not here.
Not here.
That's what I'm saying. Not in this country. Now you can do it.
Yeah. But I think about all the people that are in jail for drug possession.
Oh yeah,
and now it's legal. But you went to jail for 10 years for that amount.
I'm 3 years ago. Right now, assisted suicide with the religious belief system, the Christian belief system, and others, you don't have the right to do that.
That's right.
If that's your belief system, like I'm going to cater.
Correct.
I'm just going to go out there to everybody. If that is your belief system, now this is a. Do I understand? I guess if you're of sound mind and you have an incurable disease and you're suffering, is it an option? I would not want to see somebody I love suffer, and if they're of sound mind, okay, it is a choice thing. But where will it stop?
It's not going to stop.
That's a tough one, because
to those who maybe aren't suffering, maybe mentally suffering. Suffering is suffering, I guess. So where do you guys chime in? Because I'm just putting it out there.
When you open the door to these things, it just continues and continues and continues to go to the next level, and that goes for anything. When you open these types of doorways, then you're going to be down with everything. And that's what the agenda is anyway, to desensitize the people to the point to where they'll be down with everything. You know, I saw a story here in America recently, and this is astounding. I don't watch regular TV news or anything like that. I do see some of these news flash headlines that come online.
You'll have anxiety for weeks.
I stopped watching that a long time ago,
Yeah.
but there was a news story that came out in the mainstream media in America that said 50% of the drinking water in America is poisoned. 50%. And this is a news story. So you know what that tells me? It's probably 90%. If they're saying 50, it's probably 90.
Or all of it.
Find that I find that absolutely astounding. But I wrote about this in my 2018 book, Stranger Than Fiction, that when the devil would start with his attack, he would poison the air, the food, the seas, the water, and it's all happening. I didn't want to be right about it, but it's all happening now. And it's all part of this plan to reduce people to the point to where they'll accept anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Hi, Melissa. Hi, Wayne. Yeah. Michelle said it's sad. Sorry. I'm just reading without waiting for you. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. I just put the comments up. There's just a lot of them. So go ahead.
No. This one's sitting heavy with me because if you have a mental issue, you can't make that choice.
Exactly.
And I don't think anyone else should be making that choice for you.
Oh, that's a hard one.
Physical, there's kind of a balance in physical because a doctor will come to you and say, is there a do not resuscitate? Depending on their age and stuff like that. And that almost, when I had to go through that with my dad, almost made me feel like I was killing him, even though I knew his body was shutting down and he was 90. I still, having been raised Catholic, felt that guilt, that heavy, heavy guilt. But I knew that this was what he wanted because we had talked about it.
Yeah. So,
so it was different. And he couldn't.
That was his wish.
Well, he would have just been plugged in until he passed away, but it was done very, very, anyways, that's a whole other show. It was done very, very differently than
mother.
Yeah. It's different as long as you don't want it where you're
like that.
Yeah. You don't want it where you're dehydrating the person to death, because that I would think is excruciating, but it does happen a lot. That's a tough
terrible process.
It just makes me feel like we flipped somewhere.
I feel like that too.
Absolutely did.
What in your opinion, where do you think that happened? Because when I look at a lot of this, like the Mandela Effect, I went in and I started looking at things, and some of this is in our time, like the whole Snow White, the Forrest Gump,
That's right.
Life is like a box of chocolates. Heck yeah. It's not like mom always said mom.
So now he says life was like
no.
Was like, no, he said life is like a box of chocolates.
Exactly. But
they changed that?
This is this has changed.
Field of Dreams. If you build it, he will come.
I have the original DVD. I'm gonna look at
Yes.
If you build it, they will come.
That's right.
Yes.
The Monopoly man with the monocle. Heck yes. Yes, I have an original game.
He has the monocle. I still have that.
Yeah.
I know.
So I'm telling you, I'm going through all my stuff from childhood.
Where do you think we flipped? Where do you think we flipped?
Again, when you think about this, I was hearing little bits and pieces of this probably around 2012, 2014, but I really wasn't paying attention because I was traveling so much and I was so busy. I didn't have time to pay attention to it, but I was hearing little chatter. So perhaps maybe it started changing around 2012. There's other people who said that they noticed changes in 2010. Maybe, perhaps, but now it's just ridiculous. I'd worked in the bar business for 22 plus years, and I was around a lot of liquor and alcohol. And another change is Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker was JOHNNY. Now it's JO, I think NNIE. Johnny Walker. It's completely changed.
Heck no.
No, I'm going through the bottles. Really?
Yeah.
Oh heck no.
No way.
No. I know.
I'm gonna fall off my chair.
Insane.
Yeah. So Zach says started noticing changes around 2015.
All right, let's see.
my life turned on
Yeah,
a
go
Mr.
check it
turn.
out,
Rogers.
and then
I'm doing it right now.
I'm going to get to people's comments
And
and
Mr.
questions. Don't think I'm
Oh,
ignoring
yeah.
you. We're going to go bounce back and forth a little bit, people. Hey, Dolly.
Interview with the
Oh
vampire.
my God.
Oh, you see
Sorry,
it now.
God.
Yeah.
It says,
Inter-
did you mean Johnny Walker, NNIE?
There you
See?
go.
It
It's
was
trying.
never NNIE.
Never.
I'm
Yeah.
getting that bottle. Sorry, guys. I have that bottle in my basement because I save bottles and I have those
So you'll
from
see
my
for yourself.
dad's. Talking
Johnny
about the
Walker.
60s from my dad's bar.
You know, and
Okay.
things like Interview with the
This is-
Vampire is now
Oh.
Interview with the Vampire. Sex in the City is now Sex in the City.
No, it was Sex and the City. I watched that show.
No, it was Sex in the City, and now it's Sex and the City. And Interview with the Vampire is now called Interview with the Vampire.
No, it was a vampire.
Yep. So now it's the Vampire.
I
Star
have film
Trek.
too. I'm going to nail all these guys.
Star Trek. The famous line out of that series was "Beam me up, Scotty." Well,
That one I
they
know.
say they never said it. It was never said in any episode.
Don't even mess with that one.
Yep.
Don't even mess with that
And
one.
in I Love Lucy, the big line there was Ricky always saying, "Lucy, you got some splaining to do."
Yeah.
Right.
Now they say that he never said that.
Oh, come
That's
on.
Never.
bull. I have the DVDs.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have all this stuff. I'm a pop culture fanatic. There's
And you'll see it. And the Karate Kid. So the movie The Karate Kid, Ralph Macchio, extremely successful series of films, always had the orange and white Rising Sun bandana that he wore.
Yes.
Yeah,
Now
he's a little weird though.
Now it's blue and white. The bandana is blue and white, and they say it was
I never
never the
watched the
Japanese
film.
rising sun. Mr. Rogers, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Now he says it's a beautiful day in this neighborhood.
That one.
No,
I
it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's a beautiful day.
That's right.
Neighborhood. Would you
That's
be?
right.
I
know
can't
that.
say I spent a lot of time watching Mr. Rogers, but it
I
rains.
did. I did.
Yeah. Right.
Tamara says the song "We Are the Champions" by Queen has changed, but
Yeah.
it isn't. I have it here. It says "Because we are the champions of the world."
Yeah.
Is it a different line?
No,
Well-
she says they don't add the world anymore.
No,
Correct.
it's right here. It's right here. You can Google it. It's still there.
They're saying that it's not there, that it just that it ends as "We
Does
are the
Queen
champions."
say we are
That's true.
of the world?
Yeah.
If you bought this on CD or have downloaded it, then your version will not end with an extra of the world. However,
it
if you
ends
bought
as
it on
"We Are the
vinyl,
Champions."
depending where you bought it, then you'll have the full and final ending.
Hmm.
It's not a Mandela thing. It's just,
I'd be interested
something
to
they
hear
did.
that.
well,
I'd be
I do
interested
have
to
it
hear
on
that now.
vinyl.
Yeah, and play.
If we play it, we're
both
going to get hit
versions,
with a
see if you have
copyright.
a difference.
No, I don't have a record
Yeah,
player, but I do have the vinyl. Like I have a lot of
Yeah,
vinyls.
yeah,
I got
yeah.
the Beatles on vinyl. Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
Amelia, here's another one, liquor related for you.
you're killing me. I don't even drink. Okay.
Absolute vodka.
Yeah.
Now that was
Right.
ABSOLUTE vodka.
Right.
Now it is ABSULUT. No more E on the end of absolute vodka.
It's absolute.
Yep.
Absolute.
Mm.
Depends.
Say it.
Depends. The underwear Depends. Now
Oh,
it's called
God.
Depend. Victoria's Secret.
I wouldn't know.
Victoria's Secret lingerie is now Victoria's Secret.
Hmm.
Victoria's Secrets.
Yeah, it was always Victoria's Secret. Now it's Victoria's Secret. And
I
Whiteout.
think that was a lawsuit though, because when they changed owners, I think that when the guy, that's something else though. Absolute vodka is really freaking me out because that's something that I don't drink, but I drank it.
and Whiteout is now WITE. There's no more H there. It's Whiteout.
I saw that. I saw
Yeah,
that just
you know.
recently in Staples. I saw that.
Yeah.
Febreze
Yeah.
is now Febreze. So Febreze is now spelled FEBREZE.
But this is way too close. Like these are things that Fabrice is just something that's been around for the last 10 years, not even.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, it hasn't been around that long. This
Yeah.
stuff stinks, man. Sorry, people. I hate the smell of it.
Herbal Essence shampoo is now Herbal Essences.
That I did see because I
Yeah.
used that shampoo when I was a kid. See, things like that. And Tamara said earlier that the Gen X is feeling it the most, which is true because it's all the stuff we grew up with.
This
You
is
know.
And how
a good
about
valid
Lipton
point.
cup of noodles?
Cup
Yeah.
of noodles.
You guys remember that, right?
Sure do.
It's
Yeah.
cup noodles now. It's not
Yeah.
cup of noodles anymore. It's cup noodles.
Yeah,
Cup
but
noodles.
this is Dolly, thank you. This is what I was trying to say earlier. Maybe companies are doing this on purpose because of trademark laws
Nah.
changing.
Why would you
Some
do
of them
that?
some of them I think like Absolute, I think they might have got nailed. I know Victoria's
Why?
Secret, and I won't explain why. Nobody needs to know. For years, but I do remember being a lawsuit in there when they switched hands.
Hmm.
Because when they bought another company, then that's the year that the name changed. So I have a feeling that one might be trademark, and because they took on another large company, the same type of company. And that's probably why they called it Victoria's Secret, because they took on two huge companies.
Hmm.
Yeah, but if
So
you've
I
got
think that's when it
millions
changed.
and millions and millions invested in a brand name that has brought in millions and millions, maybe billions, I don't see you so readily changing your name to
Well, they
abandon.
just added an S. I mean, nobody noticed. But I really think
Well,
that I
some have.
honestly think that one was when they bought La Senza and Vion Rose. They bought these two huge lingerie companies and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's when it happened. It became an umbrella for them, and they added the S. I remember that whole thing going on. But yeah, the other stuff,
This is
no.
also a good point here. If you want to get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Companies
Right
don't
there.
change
Yeah,
their
Wall
Wall
Street
Street
name.
you wouldn't
trade
do
names.
that.
If they
You
did,
just wouldn't. When you
But I
have that
bet you
kind of
if-
money invested.
I just remember this case. That's why I'm saying it. I have a feeling if you
Okay, here's a
research it.
good one. How do we explain to celebrities who are supposed to be deceased but
That's
are
right.
not?
And
Okay.
there's lots of them. There's lots of them. And you know, one was you could go back to the well, of course, Nelson Mandela. That they said that he
Yes.
died in prison, and then all of a sudden
Yeah,
resurfaced.
yeah.
But this is happening with different entertainers. Even Billy Graham, the evangelical preacher, Billy Graham. They said that he had died back in the 90s and then died again in like 2014 or something like that. So it is very interesting because I had people send me messages saying that I remember the day that Billy Graham died because I was sitting on the couch with my mother and we were crying. It was in 1996. And now all of a sudden Billy Graham died again in 2014. So that is very bizarre.
That's a tough
See?
one.
I found it.
Oh, Amelia found it.
1982, they switched it over because they
Yep.
sold it to Wexner. I was right. I remember hearing this, but anyways,
So
yeah. Sorry, that's the law enforcement in me.
that's good. That's a good
That's
thing.
that I remember that going on because they also raised their damn prices.
But
Huge.
you know what though? I can recall, and just as I guess as close as a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago, walking through airports because airports, some are like shopping malls now.
Oh, yes.
And I remember walking by plenty of Victoria's Secret lingerie places in those. And I didn't see Victoria's Secret on the sign. I saw Victoria's Secret. And so I don't, you're saying that took place in 1982, but I can remember, 4 or 5 years ago being in places like Dallas Airport or Detroit or
Maybe they just didn't change
Atlanta.
the
I've
signs.
always
Like
known it as
that.
I've always
And I saw that.
Yeah,
Mm.
I've always known it as Victoria's Secret because that's 82. I wasn't even in high school
That's
yet.
interesting.
So for me, it's always been that way. But I
Mm.
remember when they sold. But because who they sold to is under investigation right now. That's why they stopped the shows that they did every year with the Secret Angels. He's under investigation, some sexual lawsuit. But anyways, Tamara says, Tamara says she met Billy Graham in the 90s on a site. She was working security because he was looking to purchase the place. So she remembers his death after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
It's bizarre. It really is. I mean, I can't say one way or the other, but now I can say this, that some of these people suddenly have name changes, like Pete Townsend from The Who. His last name is now spelled Townshend.
No way.
No,
yeah.
he's
Way.
Look it up. Yeah,
I have to because it's driving me crazy. I think we
Yeah.
should have had Google open up on our screen.
I know.
Pete Townsend. Peter Townsend. I know him as Peter, not Pete.
Pete Townsend. I know.
No,
Pete
it's
Townsend.
still Townsend.
It says that there.
Yeah.
There's an
it says
H.
Peter Townsend. Oh wait, no, that's not him.
No.
Townshend. Yes.
It's going to be Townshend. Yeah. Yeah.
See, that would just make me crazy.
And
so
then, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
Michelle.
go ahead. Keep going.
There was a bodybuilder, Arnold Schwarzenegger's best buddy back in the 70s and 80s, Franco Columbu. So they always had these world's strongest man competitions and all. I watched it. You know, I was always into stuff like that. Yeah. And so his name was always, the last name was with an O. Now it's with a U, Columbu, Franco Columbu.
Oh boy.
That's
so
insane.
Somewhere along the lines we flipped somewhere, or we split timelines, whatever the case may be. Do you think we're heading in? First off, do you think there's a way to get back? Because, or do you think
only by the power of God? You know, otherwise forget it. Because this world, in my opinion, it's gone. It's a fallen world. It's dying right before our very eyes on a daily basis, and the apple gets more rotten. And I'm sorry to say this, because I want everybody to do well and to be well and have happiness and to be blessed. But we have to be real also. And the reality is we're seeing some very dark and disturbing things on a daily basis in our world.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't see it unless God himself saves us and turns this around. Otherwise, then I think a day of destruction is coming, because I don't see this. This is out of the hands of human beings. This is too far out of the hands of humans to try and bring this back.
Do you think that when everybody says, oh, there's this awakening, the awakening is just this huge shift into a whole different dimension or something? Because I remember 2012 and not the Mayan calendar. It has nothing to do with that. Right. My life did a 360 after surgery in 2011. 360, 4 NDEs on a table, like 3 there, 1 in the hallway. Like, it really, I felt it took me forever. And I always felt like I was living in a fog and that it wasn't really happening. Like I was watching.
So your life absolutely shifted at that point, with
I believe that's when it was for me. Yeah. But I think everybody has a different time. But shouldn't it be at the same time?
But that's
it really makes me
crazy. You may have shifted a few times. It's like Michelle says, what earth are we on? Are we all from the same earth here? Or,
I mean, how many times do you drive on a highway and you get somewhere and you don't know how the hell you got there? And everybody just quickly wants to say alien abduction. But what if you were shifted?
Well,
anything is possible at this point.
Yeah.
And Michelle was just going to say that there are so many portals, dimensional doorways that can open now. So anything is possible. And even with reports of these Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Sabe creatures and encounters with them, sometimes they'll be holding like a little globe of light in their hand. And then all of a sudden it gets real bright and they're gone. So it's some type of device that will open a portal for them to be able to go into that portal.
I absolutely believe that.
I believe there's a portal.
Dolly's comment, this makes sense too, because Dolly and I've talked about this.
Yeah. You want me?
Yeah.
Dolly says, I'm of the opinion that the AI supercomputer is in control of what you read, see, and hear. I feel like that too. It's really scary.
It's all fallen angel technology. So whether it's AI and or D-Wave quantum computers and the CERN device, CERN, their logo is 3 interlocking 6s. So that should tell you everything you need to know
Yes.
there. And their
Yes.
mascot is Shiva, the god of destruction. So that should tell you everything you need to know about that
Right.
agency.
Right. Question for you, Bubbles?
Yes. Sorry. I'm looking at the comment that way because this print's tiny. So my question is, the Mandela Effect going to start popping up regular people? Are we going to be coming back from the dead?
Well, that's funny that Tamara mentions that, because Amazon, and they just recently took this off. Let me see if I can find it. If I can, I'll read it.
This is going to keep me
Yeah,
up
of
all
course.
night looking
This
and
was in
researching.
and this was on there for years.
Well, why don't
This
you look
was in
that
the-
up, and we're
this
going to
was
do
in
a
the
quick.
Amazon
Oh.
bylaws.
Why don't you look it up, and we're going to do a quick station ID and
Okay, do you
sponsor
wanna
ID. Give you a
Do you
few
want to
minutes.
run the vids first, or do you want me to go first?
No, you go first. Go with
Okay.
whatever. Yeah.
I'm starting then. I'm here with my coffee cup. It still says Folgers on it.
Yes.
You are listening to The Outer Realm with
For
Michelle
now.
DeRoche and Amelia Pisano, coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans on 105.3 and 107.7 FM. And we are currently streaming on Roku and in archive. And that didn't change. See, no Mandela Effect here, not yet. Our special guest tonight discussing the Mandela Effect with us is our dear friend. And you know him, the great Reverend William Bean is here tonight. You've probably seen him in person at all those Paracons and all the TV shows. And my gosh, there isn't anyone that doesn't know him. And he is just incredible, fun to talk with, compassionate and kind. We love having him. If you're just tuning in, no worries. You can stream our archives on any platform that you normally use. Just type in United Public Radio and then search The Outer Realm. Or you could just search The Outer Realm on Google search or whatever search engine you use, and it should pop up for you. If you are on Facebook, just join us on our page, The Outer Realm, and you'll have all of our archives posted there. Don't forget to share us with your friends and give us a like. Thank you to the amazing people at Folgers Coffee for sponsoring our show and continuing to sponsor our show right from day one. We love you and we appreciate you very much. Thank you for our illustrations, our promos, our banners, to the incredible artist, Steve McGinnis, horror illustrator. He's a fantastic artist. And Michelle, you can find him on Facebook as well.
And Instagram.
And Instagram. Thank you. And thank you for our intro and outro to Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, Justin Snicker, award-winning composer and musician. And I just lost my page. On Amazon and Bandcamp. You can find him on Facebook and Instagram, and he's dropping clips of his music all the time. So please give him a check. Check him out. Check out Steve McGinnis. If you are watching us right now on YouTube or you're watching us on Facebook Live, make sure you hit subscribe and like. We know you're there. We see the numbers. We get our ratings, but we need to see your support there as well. Show us some love and give us a like and subscribe and give us a share. It costs you nothing. Thank you.
And there we are.
Love it. And it was perfect because I found this, and you guys are just not going to believe this. Now, this, as of, it says last updated when I got this information was on December 23rd of 2022. Since then, I've gone back and it has been taken down. But this was on the Amazon AWS service terms. And it says the service terms below govern your use of the services. Capitalized terms used in the service terms but not defined below are defined in the AWS customer agreement or other agreement with us governing your use of the services. For purposes of the services terms, your content includes any company content or any customer content, and AWS content includes Amazon properties. Okay, so we've established this now by what they've said there. So let me go down this, and again, it's no longer there, but it was Article 42, verse 10. Are you ready for this?
Go for it.
Mhm.
It says acceptable use, safety critical systems. Your use of the lumberyard materials must comply with the AWS acceptable use policy. The lumberyard materials are not intended for use with life critical or safety critical systems, such as use and operation of medical equipment, automated transportation systems, autonomous vehicles, aircraft or air traffic control, nuclear facilities, manned spacecraft, or military use in connection with live combat. However, this restriction will not apply in the event of the occurrence certified by the United States Centers for Disease Control or successor body of a widespread viral infection transmitted via bites or contact with bodily fluids that causes human corpses to reanimate and seek to consume living human flesh, blood, brain, or nerve
Zombies.
tissue,
Zombies.
is likely to result in the fall of organized civilization.
They took The Walking Dead a little too seriously.
Now, think about this, ladies. You're going to put something ingest when I've just read to you all this serious content, and you're going to, someone would dare to put that, to be cute or joke around in ingest, to put that on the official site of terms and services. And that was on there for a long time. Somebody made me aware of it, and now it's gone. You cannot find it. But isn't that interesting that you would have something like that on there?
That's definitely different.
That is so bizarre.
Yeah,
That's the
absolutely
United
bizarre.
States. That's the United States. Everybody should check the Amazon in their country. See if it
Yeah.
reads the same.
Yeah,
It
that's
would be
crazy.
interesting if it does read the same, but again, as of, I would say probably 3 months ago or so, I checked it again. It is no longer on there. So that's very interesting. Why would you have something like that up for several years? And then suddenly, I think what happened was people were becoming aware of that, and they were probably starting to get a lot of feedback. Hey, why do you have that on there? Why is that there? Why is that there? And now it's no longer there.
Maybe
Well,
not
yeah.
everybody passed away from that sea thing that we can't mention.
I'll tell you one thing. It's when you think about something like that, again, it takes me back to the Bible, because in the book of Revelation, it talks about, in the last days, men's hearts will fail them for these types of things that will manifest. And I just wonder, if, and I certainly don't want to see something like that, but if something like that were to happen, combined with all these other wonderful things that are taking place, some people's hearts would fail them and they would drop dead of heart attacks just from the sheer, just that their minds would be blown to see something like that. And maybe we'd never see anything like that.
Mm-hmm. I agree with this statement as well.
I do too with Wayne.
Yeah.
Hi, Wayne. I honestly believe it's just the powers that be tweaking things we already know to be true in order to question our sanity. I'm with you on
Very
that
well
one.
could be so. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So again, for me, and I can't tell anybody what to do, but I can tell you what I do. I keep God first. I'm consistent in my relationship with God. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. I would never dare say that. Do I try to be the best that I can be and do the best that I can do? Absolutely. Every single day of my life. But I'm a human being. We all fall short.
Yeah.
We will never achieve perfection on this earth, but we have to do the best that we can do and be the best that we can be, because if we're committed to God, therefore we're committed to excellence. And if we're committed to excellence, then we should refuse to lose. I declare victory in each and every day of my life, and I will do so for the rest of my life. Is my
Some
life
people
perfect?
test that though. No. They
Of
test
course. Of course.
I'm
No,
tested regularly.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna need
We
a
all
shot
are.
of that absolute vodka to fall
Yeah.
asleep tonight.
Yeah.
Saying.
Maybe combine that with some of the Johnny Walker too.
Yeah,
I
and
know.
then
I
I'll
know.
be dead. I never drink.
I have a degree of patience, and I try to be really, really fair. But
Well,
there are
you
people
have to.
who-
You're my friend.
there
You gotta have a heck
are
of a lot of
people out
patience.
there who push the right buttons, and it's just I'm going to
Yeah.
hurt your feelings. It doesn't happen often, so you really have to be, a certain type of individual, I think, to just So it's like,
and it does happen, and it happens with me as well. I love everybody, and I try to be somebody to somebody every day of my life. But there are people out there that unfortunately are unstable, and the devil will work through them to try and cause a variety of problems. And so you just pray that God. I've had times where I say, Father, please, make this person go away and stop. And you don't, I don't wish bad on anybody, but still, there are people out there that can be vicious and really be unrelenting.
I wish so much bad on one person yesterday. Michelle knows who I'm talking about, that I probably need confession.
Just place them in the hands of God.
Well, it's our country leader. It's our country leader.
Pray.
Yes, Tamara.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the Karens. The Karens come in different shapes and sizes, and the Karens are killing me. I cannot believe, I have to say, people that work retail, God bless you all. Because I see some of that stuff that comes in there, and I have stepped in and said, excuse me, but you're being rude, like, to this person. I've worked on the other side of that counter. It's not easy. But what's coming out is the entitlement.
Oh, there's tons of it. I can't understand the people who attack veterinary technicians. You're bringing your little fur baby, and you attack the people at the counter and say, "Here,
take my little love of my life."
What's wrong with you people?
The thing I love most in life, my dog.
I know.
Unfortunately, when if a tragedy does occur in a situation like that, well, then the person will go, "They killed my pet, they did that." So everybody's so quick to blame somebody else, when these types of things happen, and most especially God. They want to blame God for everything.
People are losing patience.
Chris wants to say,
I agree with Amelia with the self-entitlement, but there's a big lack of patience right now. And I think it comes back again. We come, full circle again. I think with, why you're busier. I think that people are very angry. People are hurt. There's a lot of people who have lost someone. There's a lot of people who have, they're at the wit's end, or they're maybe in desperate times. They don't know what to do with their family. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's just, I think, instead of turning to their faith and finding strength in it, they are going the other way. And not that they're looking, for attention from, darker forces. Well, some are, don't get me wrong, but I think on average, people just don't set out to do that. But they're walking away. They're turning their back on the one thing that may have given them strength before.
Yeah. And some people are delving into like dark web and looking for ways to deal and handle things on their own, which is a whole other thing. It's not a cult, but when you're dealing in black magic, you got to be careful what you're looking at and what you're looking for, because trust me, you are being watched when you do that. You've become and made yourself a target. Nothing comes for free.
Correct.
Always remember that. There's a price to pay, and it's going to be you paying the biggest price, not it. Oh my gosh.
And I think those eyes are on people more now than ever.
What happened to me?
100%.
What happened to me, right, Michelle? Like, how I can't go into the whole story, but I can tell you that something jumped into someone to have quite a conversation with me. And I'm not going to say where. I can tell you, Bill, like when we're speaking privately.
Yeah,
and I said to Michelle, I handled it a lot better than I thought I would, but it was the first time that I had a conversation with something dark in my life, and it was less than a foot away from me.
Well,
in a public place. Yeah, and I just tried to. Well, I hope so too, because Michelle and I did our magic, right? But I wasn't afraid. I was just curious as to why it had so much trouble. I have a medallion that I wear with the Virgin Mary and Jesus. It was my mother's, and it's quite large, and wouldn't even look at it. I've got Archangel Michael. I have a crucifix. There was this couldn't keep eye contact. Like I said to Michelle, blah 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 blah. She goes, "That's all of them." I said, "This is crazy."
Thank God you weren't in fear, because again, when something like that happens, and if the target is in fear, well, then, boy, the door is open wide for those entities to come in and have their ways. So praise God, Amelia, that you were able to stand strong and stay in faith.
Michelle has taught me very well. I have a lot of strength and I have a lot of faith.
Praise God.
It's just not for me. I don't challenge it and I don't welcome it. It just happened. And my concern was more that it was a public area. And I was just more concerned about
people around.
Yeah, it wasn't me, because I knew nothing was going to take me over. But I was concerned about the vulnerability about other people that were there. So I just kept pushing it to say, you don't have me, like, give up kind of thing. Not in a bad and mean, exactly the way Michelle taught me, very calmly. And just held my tone. I didn't get upset.
So when I left
the place and got into the car, the first phone call was to her.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, you're not going to believe what beep happened.
And she said, yes, I would believe it.
And she was like, we have to take care of that right now. It was just
somebody's
like
going to get their ass handed to them.
I didn't even, there was no way I was even going to wait the 20 minutes to get home to tell Michelle. I had to tell her right then and there, because it was like, I don't know if this is going to follow me. I don't know. There were so many things. And when I'm telling you these stories out there and you're listening, it's because I don't want you to engage. I don't want you to be curious. There is nothing entertaining about this.
Zero.
It's scary. It is so scary. And they will go after your weakest link.
And your family
it won't
as
be
well.
you. It'll be your family. Yeah.
Absolutely right. And so there's another theme out there today.
Sorry, I got
some
so
of these
excited
churches.
over that.
No, I'm glad you, and I would like to talk with you privately about that.
We will, definitely. I just don't want to mention it because
I understand.
Yeah, there's too many people that know what I do that were there. So I don't know if they're watching or not.
Yeah, makes perfect sense to me. But there's a little theme going on now in some of today's churches that everybody wants to be an exorcist now. And I have turned down large sums of money that from people that wanted to be trained and all that. I said, look, unless this is a calling from God, no way. You don't want to get into this arena. And so this is not something you could just turn around and walk away from.
Why do you think so? Why do you think there's this upswing of
the upswing?
Watching? Yeah.
Because of the glamorization of it. So TV shows. All these. So everybody wants to, so now it's glamorous to, to be in that arena. Right. And so
they want their own story to tell.
Correct. Yeah. And they're 15 minutes. And so in some of these churches now, I've seen this to where pastors, they're making all these videos. And now all of a sudden the pastor he's casting out all these demons and he's going and hitting people on the head and he's taking the Bible and hitting people on the head. And these people are dropping down. It's all circus. It's all theater. But anyway, they're now making these videos where the so-called pastor, exorcist, whatever, has a victim, supposed victim, under demonic, full demonic possession. And the victim just happens to be sitting there in a chair. And the pastor is now saying, tell me about the future. Tell me. It is a Jerry Springer circus type of thing. There's no authenticity to it whatsoever. And furthermore, if you're having discussion or dialogue with a demon, you're opening yourself up wide for a tremendous trap because they are liars. You'll never get the truth out of them.
No.
So, it's just mind-boggling. And then I've seen in some of these churches where the pastor's going through and he's hitting all these people in the head, casting them out. And all of a sudden, more people are becoming afflicted. And what these people are doing, willingly, unwillingly, knowingly, unknowingly, I think it's all a sham anyway. However, the demons don't think it's a sham. And if there are some people that are present there and might happen to be demonically affected and afflicted, if someone is binding and rebuking and casting out, they can jump into other people or places or things. And so for me in my work, I have to be very careful. And I ask Yahweh to send his giant warrior angels to take them into custody. That way they can't jump into anyone or anything or anything else. And so we have to be very careful in that. But I see that more and more now because these people, it's becoming a business. So it's glamorized. and it's becoming a business now. So everybody wants to jump on this bandwagon and they want to be in this arena. But what they don't realize is, yeah, you might make a couple bucks if that's your goal, to be an entertainer and get people to pay you to be an entertainer. But you're crossing into a threshold that could have mortal consequences.
Well,
for
they
that
take it very
individual and their
seriously.
family. Yeah. And
It's
so,
a form of invitation, right?
yes. So that's invitation, invocation. And those people might as well have a sign on them saying, here I am, come and get me.
Right.
I just want to say thank you to Chris, because he did do the Hail Mary for me.
Then we'll
Thank
get
you.
to
I
the
was very
questions.
appreciative.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. He felt compelled to say it. That was very kind. Thank you. I take all prayers from every religion, just saying. Zach has a question. I heard a controversial public figure once say, evil forces don't like humor. Is there any truth to that statement? Why or why not?
Well, there's nothing funny about, for me, I'm not Joel Osteen. I'm not a smiley face preacher that says I never have a bad day and everything is sunshine and roses. I guess there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not me. I'm real. I'm very intense. God has made me to be this way, ferocious, against evil and those that are being held hostage or affected or tormented. So there's never any humor in anything where it comes to, a dialogue with demons. My only dialogue with them is to bind and rebuke and cast out, or if there is a possessed person that is just screeching or screaming, I would say silent, Yahweh rebuke thee in Jesus' name, be silent. And they have to obey that. They have to obey the power of God. And so there wouldn't be, I wouldn't be in the course of performing an exorcism and saying, oh, let me tell you this funny joke, or there would be no place for humor in something like that. Now, after it's over with, if, when the person is free and they're joyous and, if you wanted to have something lighthearted after the deliverance or exorcism is over with, I've had lighthearted moments with people after that. It's wonderful and it's joyous, but boy, you would never have anything of the sort when you're engaged against these demonic forces, because their agenda is to kill, rob, and destroy, and they hate especially the agent for God that the power of God is working through to evict them.
But
they
isn't humor
in
a way, is that not giving a positive mindset, raising a vibration?
It could, absolutely. But I mean, what are you going to do?
Taking away fear, perhaps.
Who used to make fun is the Pope's exorcist. What's his name? Father Morth. He would do that. That is an excellent film, by the way, if you haven't seen it yet. The Pope's Exorcist is an incredible film.
I'm like a cop that, I don't watch cop shows. I do this, so I never.
No, but that film, I'm saying for the audience, that film really shows behind the scenes of the Vatican and behind the scenes of a time where exorcism wasn't as popular and as out there as it is now. You didn't, all you had was the film The Exorcist and Rosemary's Baby during that time. People didn't understand what full stigmata was until the film Exorcism of Emily Rose came out. And then when you're delving into stuff like that, you're inviting stuff. But Wayne said that, what Michelle was saying, and I agree with that. What is meant there is that negativity can't survive in a place of joy and happiness. That is true.
But unfortunately, when a person is fully possessed, they're not there. Their mind is unplugged. So they have no idea of what's taking place. So there'd be no way to connect with a person and bring joy to them during. Now, I will say this. I've performed exorcisms on people to where you could feel the grip of the entities loosening and they're getting ready to depart. And at that point, I will start talking to the individual saying, I know you're coming back. I know you're in there. God is doing his part. I'm doing my part as an agent for God. Now you have to do your part. I want you to fight. I want you to gain your strength back. And then that metamorphosis begins to take place. And, I've been involved in a few cases like that. And so I will say that perhaps there could be something to that as far as raising the frequency and vibration as the person is coming out of this.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're making a real connection with them. But I've had some situations with people to where there were 30 different types of entities manifesting in the person. And here I am, by the power of God, casting them out one at a time. And you get rid of one, then another one comes right in and takes over.
Yes.
Yeah, where
And
there's
it's just
one,
a
there's more.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says
Well,
that in
hence
the
the
film.
term legion, right?
Yes, he says
correct.
that in the film as well. I think people who are interested in understanding more about this, if I don't think anyone in our audience is new to this, but you heard Michelle and I talk about the film The Rite, which really shows you that exorcism can take years for some people, depending on how it started, how it began, what demon is in there, and all kinds of circumstances. There's a long process to it, as well as the Pope's exorcist. They explain how Father Gabriel Marth is the reason they have the exorcism school at the Vatican, which is open internationally to all religions and faiths to go in for that discussion. They have a class that's a discussion, and then they have the ones that are there to teach deliverance and how to perform the rite, because there is so much need for it and not enough people to do it. So I just wanted to put that out there. Those are positive ways of learning and understanding. Don't Google, please. Be careful with that.
All I'll say is knowledge is power, and power perceived is power achieved. So we must, God says in Hosea 4:6, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So we have a responsibility and obligation to thirst for knowledge always. And we will never, I don't care who we are, we'll never, ever know it all, but we should always thirst for knowledge because it's empowerment.
Pick up a book, though. Pick up a book from these these great people who have done this work, and like Bill Bean here. That's what you have to follow. No, kidding. It's my honor. I just feel that we have to find different ways to learn about it, like you speaking out and reading books of seminars, people who have had
seminars you're doing. Which, as we start coming up to the top of the hour slowly, this is the part of the show where I know I have to do it again.
We do a 10-hour show and still not have enough time.
I know. So tell everybody what you have coming up. Tell people how to find you. Let's make sure we get everything out.
Well, I want to thank you both for having me. It's always a pleasure to be with you. Two of my favorite people, and thank you so much. And
thank you.
We feel the same, just so you know.
It's like
I appreciate that. And I do have some more appearances coming up. I have one, and again, I thank you to Jason McLeod for having me to be a part of that Defeating the Demonic event. That was very, very, there wasn't an empty seat in the house. It was very successful.
I would have loved to have been there. Yeah.
Oh, I wish you guys could have been there for that.
Yeah.
And I have an event coming up with George Noory. We're going to be doing a on-stage live coast to coast at the Lincoln Theater in Columbus, Ohio on October 14th. That's a really nice theater. And I'm really looking forward. Tommy D said that the thing's already sold out. So
you're blessing that venue before you go on stage, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. There's a lot of ghosts under that building.
Any place that I go to, I will. Even the place that I was just at, there in Southbury, Connecticut, we said a blessing there. And I also, I didn't plan on doing this. I never plan anything out. But during the course of my lecture, I felt that God was putting it on me that I needed to pray for some people in the audience. And I stood up and engaged in a form of spiritual deliverance for the people in the audience. And after it was all over with, we had a VIP dinner after that. And some of those people came up to me and said, I could feel something lifting off of me. And praise God. I just try to obey. And again, I don't claim to be anything special, and I'm not perfect, but I really try to obey God when he's putting something in my spirit and something for me to do. So I just did that on the fly, and it really affected some people in a great way, and I praise him for it. So I'm more busy than ever, again, with clients and cases and traveling to and fro, and I do my best to get to everybody as quickly as I can. So if you're out there and you're in need, please don't hesitate. You can contact me at BillJBean.com. You can email me directly from the site, and I promise you I'll get back to you as quickly as I possibly can.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for joining us again. I love it. We'll have to do it again because there's so much there's so much to talk about. We end up going off in so many different directions. So
We sure did.
I love it.
Yeah.
So let's try to piece together another segment and we'll bring you on maybe October.
That would be great. And then maybe we could talk about, again, the George Noory event. And if it's before, we'll talk about it. Or if it's after, we'll talk about, what took place there.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll be in touch with you. And I will go over some dates with you and
all right.
let's put together some stuff because that's the month where people just seem to go a little renegade. And
then there's a tremendous uptick.
Yes.
In that
Oh,
month
absolutely.
Of people needing help.
We get busy from that point, all the end of September, all the way through until spring. It gets insane.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, ladies, thank you so much. Much love and God bless you both and your families and everybody out there. Thank you for tuning in. And I certainly hope that I could plant good seeds out there and looking forward to the next time.
Always. Thank you so much. It was a great honor.
Yes, indeed.
Chris says,
all right, ladies, love and God bless you both.
Spend hours with them.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye now.
Flew by.
It did fly by. He's just such a wonderful guest. He's just such a, proud to call him friend. Like do you know, on this day, real early days, he was on, like, I think it was like 2020.
I was going to say he was one of our first
2020.
Yes, when we had the station in Niagara. He was one of our first,
it's true.
first or
that
second.
Was today. That came up in my memories.
It was AD and then him.
I know.
Or AD.
He came up in the memories. I'm just like
Utu and him. It was the three of them.
I know.
AD,
it was
Utu, and
great.
him. Yeah.
It was great. But wow, guys, you guys are all like amazing. I wish we could get to all. Like you'll notice I'll just flash up comments and things like that. We can't get to all of them, but we do try to make sure that at least they're seen. But thank you to Bill Bean for tuning in, and big thank you to all of you guys. Kudos for joining us in chat. And I know it's always
we love you guys. We can't do it without you.
I know you guys are awesome. So big thank you to Folgers Coffee for sponsoring tonight's show and every night show. Another big thank you to Justin Snicker, aka Dr. Sick, the Sonic Surgeon. Thank you to Steve McGinnis. If you guys like what you see, follow, like, subscribe, whatever it takes. Show us how much you love us. We love you right back. Yeah, right there. Now, if you want to, drop us a line, the outerrealmcontact@gmail.com, the outerrealmcontact@gmail.com, or find us on Facebook, click the email button. That comes to us as well. Tomorrow night, we bring back another, individual who we're happy to call a friend, and it's Brad Olson. Everybody loves Brad Olson. Yes. But we're going to be talking about, sacred spots and mysterious places. Like, think maybe Mariana's Trench, think Mount Shasta, Sedona, right? That's going to set the stage right there. So he's a wealth of information. I have seen him on many documentaries aside from, the Beyond Esoteric series. And he's going to be venturing in and sort of digging his heels in a little bit. So we're looking forward to that. Mm-hmm. Until then, everybody get yourselves, settled, have a good slumber, and prep up some questions for tomorrow night. So thank you. Good night.